Yo, what's good? In this video, I want to go over how you can increase your show up rate for your offer and make sure that people are actually turning up to the sales calls. So, quick disclaimer, um, this is when I did this and we got the 100% show up rate. It was for a smaller offer, as you can see by the numbers and the amount of calls that we had booked. And obviously, this graph here shows you like the activity we had on specific days. There's gaps and things like that. So, if you have got a really big offer, this is still valuable and the things that I'm showing in here are still useful. But obviously, you've got to understand that the more people you've got coming in, the higher the chances that people aren't going to turn up to the calls. Just because it's just simple statistics, right? The more you have, the more likely something is to happen, right? Um, as well, this only works when your set is actually good and he is sticking to the SOPs. Well, it doesn't even have to be good. Setting's quite easy, right? They just can't be lazy. They need to be doing and following the SOPs and following the sales systems properly. If they don't, it won't work. Um, and the other thing that is needed for this is your offer actually has to be good. If your offer's dog shit, it's not going to work because the way that we kind of get people to make sure they turn up to the call is through a lot of nurturing and providing them value and pre-selling them. And if your offer's shit, they're going to see straight through it. They're not going to get pre-sold, and they probably won't turn up to the call because they'll lose interest. So obviously we're going to go into it in more detail in a minute, but that's kind of the main gist of it. But yeah, so what we're going to go over in this video, the sales flow, what aspect of the flow actually make them turn up, and how you can implement it, right? So we'll start off by going over like the sales flow. So for most offers and funnels, you have some form of application, right? We won't go over the application too much or the things that aren't relevant to the video. I just want to kind of run through the entire sales process just so that you like we're on the same page. But the Typeform application is actually very important, right? Because it allows us to find out what their intentions are, what motivates them, what goals they're looking to achieve, and most importantly, how much they have to invest. So this is quite important, especially for the setters when obviously once they apply, the setter dials them, right? They need to know these things, especially the goals, because it makes the call so much easier, right? Because when the setter calls them, he can be like, oh, hey, name, I see that you're having issues with X, Y, and Z, you know what I mean? Here's how this offer can help you or whatever, right? It also helps the closer as well, knowing what issues they're having. And as well, there's outbound setting happening as well, you know, through like Instagram, ManyChat, you know, like new follower sequences, things like that. DM setting, people trying to outbound set as well. Another one that I haven't added on here, which I probably should have, is upsells, right? So another way that a lot of it starts is upsells, right? You might upsell somebody. There might be a low ticket community. You might have a setter in there, but whatever of the free options it is, the aim is for the setter to get on the phone with them and qualify them, right? Like I said with the Typeform, setter's job is quite easy. They have to qualify them, make sure they have the money, um, find out what their motives are, so what it is that they actually want to achieve, and obviously, yeah, their goals, right? All these things is what obviously helps the closer actually close the deal, right? Goals are super important. What is it that actually is pushing them and motivating them? What is it that they want to achieve and why? And obviously that they actually have the money to invest. If they don't have the money to invest, they're no good, right? So if they are qualified, they get booked on with a closer. If they're unqualified, they get pushed onto a downsell and nurtured for future purchases, right? So once they're qualified, they're booked onto a sales call with the closer, right? So something that we do is we also make a group chat with them. So we're going to be coming back to this because this is one of the key points to making sure people turn up to the sales call. So what the group chat is the setter will set them and then he'll also add them to a group chat. This is just so that we can send them like, so if they have any questions, they can ask both the coach and or the setter, the closer or the setter and things like that, right? But we'll come back to this in just a moment. Then they're going to be getting automated and email, manual, and automated reminders, right? So we usually run two separate pre-call email sequences, which again, this is another big point of how we get people to come on the call, and is it something we're going to be going on to it in just a moment. And then obviously they have the sales call, right? So this usually goes like one of three ways. They either get closed, not closed, or they don't show up. Obviously, this is the point of the video, to stop like no showing. But if for whatever reason they do, we pretty much send the setters out on them, and the setter acts as if like a fucking hellhound and doesn't stop until we get them back on that call, right? Unless they're just acting like a complete messer and they're going to just no show again, then they just get DQ'd. If we don't close them, we'll always aim to try and get a deposit. Obviously, the setter should have figured out if they have the money, so this shouldn't really be an option. We shouldn't really be worrying about trying to get deposits because they should have the money to invest. But things do happen, especially with bigger offers where you're having loads of people come through on calls. Some people lie about how much money they've got, to be fair. I don't know why, but it does happen. People lie. And then, yeah, whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. Someone might have happened. They might have spent the money before the call. So you just get a small deposit, schedule the next meeting on the next call to collect the rest of the cash, which is the minimum amount to get them started on the program, and then add them to a post-call flow, right? Follow up with them twice if they don't close on the call, and then again, add them to that same flow. And then if they don't close, they just get added straight to that flow. If they do close, I've got like an automated onboarding form, but automated onboarding system, sorry. So if they close, they get onboarded, simple as that. Obviously the onboarding system, again, I'm not going to go into too much detail about this because it's not really relevant to the video. But as soon as they close, they'll get an email with a contract in it. Once they sign that contract, it triggers the end automation, which then builds their client portal inside of Notion, right? And then all the coaches have got to do after that is just have a onboarding call with them, right? So that's pretty much the sales flow. There's one extra thing I want to go over, which is some funnels have an option for you to just book in a call. So it's usually like either like free training or VSL funnels. Once that you've watched the video, instead of like having a Typeform application, they'll just have like a book a call link, like a calendar link, right? And people think that's great because they don't have to pay the setter the 5%, and it skips this entire process and goes straight to the sales call. But that's usually the biggest issue. So this right here is the biggest solution. If you're doing this, if you're just having them book on straight away with a closer, and you're fucking missing out on doing all of this, that's why you're getting so many no-shows. Obviously, I assume you still have the email flow because that's so fucking simple to set up, especially with like calendar automations and stuff like that. And if you're not doing that, that's crazy, right? So yeah, one fix straight away. If you're doing this and having them book onto the call with a closer and not having any sort of like triage call or setting call, then you're really fucking up. And if you're not sending any automated emails as well, complete fucking, you're just wasting your time, right? So yeah, so what we'll do is we won't do this, right? We just delete that straight away. They will never go straight to the sales call, right? What we do is we have what's called a triage call, which again is another pivotal point for making sure they turn up to the call. And I'll explain why, right? So with the triage call, what this does is in fairness, it's very similar to the setting call. It's actually super similar, but you're just not setting them because they're already set. You're going over what they want to achieve, what their motivations are, just like you do with the sales call, and how much they have to invest, right? But the main point of the triage call is that you're reminding them that the call is booked, and you are confirming that they have watched the pre-call videos. So we'll go over in depth a bit more about what the pre-call videos are and what they entail. But the triage call will kind of be something like, so they've booked on, you'll get your setter to ring them, and the setter will be like, oh, hey, name, it's Harry from so-and-so's team. Just seen you booked a call with coach for like 8 p.m. Just making sure that everything's all good, etc., etc. They'll be like, yeah, everything's fine, all booked in. And then you'll be like, okay, yeah, sweet. Obviously, it says here that you've got $2,000 to invest. Is that right? And they'll be like, yeah, that's right. Like, oh, it's perfect. What's your current situation like right now? You know what I mean? And then you'd go into like what it is that how they are with whatever business it is, right? So you're not trying to, you know what I mean? You're not trying to set them. They're already set. It's a super casual conversation, and you're literally just discussing. So there still will be a Typeform for this, by the way. There still will be like a form. So you're literally discussing their answers for it, right? How much they have to invest, etc. Things like that, right? And then, so that's how it's different to the setting call. And then, just like you do with the setting call, you may add them to the group chat with the closer, right? So with the triage call, this isn't the only time I do it here, right? I will, even if you've set them through the phone, you've already spoke to them on the phone, I will still add a triage call, but it'll go around about here in the flow, right? So it's before the call, but it might be the morning of. So let's say, for example, and this is the time I would use it. So I'll give you an example when I'd use it, right? So the triage call would get used, let's say it's 5 p.m. on the 26th, right? You set someone, you're on the phone, you just applied, whatever. You set him for, you set him for 8 p.m. on the 27th, right? So that's 26 hours ahead of time, right? So the next day, you're going to do a triage call, maybe 11 a.m., right? And that will be it'll be pretty much the exact same as the triage call I just kind of demoed for you earlier, but it'll be slightly different. It'll be a lot more casual because you've already spoke to them once. It'll be a thing of like, hey, name, hey, name, Harry, it's Harry. We spoke yesterday. Obviously, just checking in, making sure that you're all still good to go for that call at 8 p.m. Also, did you get a chance to check out the free resources in the group? You know what I mean? Things like that, right? In the WhatsApp group chat, which again, we'll go over the WhatsApp group chat in just a second. And then they'll be like, yeah, checked it out, whatever. I'm all still good to go for the call. And you'll be like, oh, perfect, great. Just checking as well. Just want to make sure that I've got it all written down here correctly. And then you'd go over the motives again with them, you know, to make sure it's fresh on their mind for that day. Like you said, it's been 24 hours, it's been 26 hours, whatever it might be. You don't want them to forget why they're actually having that call, and you don't want them to forget about the time of the call, right? So that will be the triage. You'll have a triage there. Obviously, if you've triaged them and got them onto the call, I would still do it again, actually, if the call is in within a day or two's time, right? Obviously, with this offer that we ran, the calls were never more. They were usually always the next day, just because of like the time zones with the closer and stuff like that. So the usually always the next day. That's what we used to do. So it would be set, add them to a group chat if they were qualified, triage them the morning of the call, or obviously if the call was in the morning, maybe you just triage them on the night, whatever like that. It's essentially just like a friendly reminder call, right? But yeah, so the triage call, the WhatsApp group, and the email sequence is kind of what I call the big three, right? The big three of making sure that people actually turn up. So triage call, we've explained and described that to you, so you know what that is. So email reminders, right? How would that work? These are super fucking simple, and if you're not using these, like I physically can't understand why you wouldn't be using these, because they're stupidly simple to set up, and every single offer that you see, even in the same niche as you, if you've done any sort of market research, you'll have seen that they are running email sequences, right? So, like I said before, we run two. The Go High Level one is just the standard, your call is in 12 hours, your call is in 1 hour, right? Super simple, super easy to set up. You literally set it up, so you on High Level, so they book in here, or the setter books them in here, it adds them to that automation, right? It adds them to the workflow. That's the trigger for the workflow, and then it just works off time. Do you know what I mean? So fucking simple. So yeah, I'm not going to go too in depth on this because to me anyway, that just seems like you should be fucking definitely doing that. And if you're not, you need to implement it like now. And then we run a kit sequence as well. So the kit sequence is 4 to 6 emails a day. And you might be thinking like that's a lot of emails, but like I was saying to you, the calls were never much more than a day in advance, you know what I mean? And from what I was like speaking to other people and from what I've seen on other offers, they'll never book more than 2 days in advance, right? Which is sounds right. You don't want to book them too far ahead, or it makes the whole sequence kind of messy. Because even triage it, calling them, it's going to be a nightmare because they'll probably even forget that they've booked on, and then you try triaging them, and yeah, it's just you don't want to ever have it more than 2 days away, right? One really is the best, but 2 is like kind of that is it. Don't do any more. But yeah, so what are these 4 to 6 emails, right? So the point of these 4 to 6 emails is to pre-sell and to handle objections, right? So pre-sell and handle objections. How do we do that? By providing value. So remember at the beginning when I said if your offer's dog shit, you're going to struggle because you can't pre-handle the objections because your offer's dog shit, and you can't pre-sell because your offer's dog shit, right? And you can't give value because your offer is fucking dog shit. You don't have any value in the offer. How are you supposed to pre-sell and handle the objections if you don't have the value, right? Or if you're lying, or if you're chatting shit, or if you're scamming people, right? It won't work. You just got to get lucky, right? So how do we give value, right? We're going to give value by obviously fucking dropping source on them in the emails, case studies, personal stories, and wins from people who are already in the group. And they'll be getting multiple emails with each one of these different things in it every single day. So mainly like source and stuff like that, but that's kind of the point. And mainly source, and to be fair, wins for people who are already in the group. So that's how the email sequences work. And then it brings us to the WhatsApp chat, the last of the big 3, right? So, like I said to you before, the setter sets them, books them on the call, and then adds them to the group chat, right? So this group chat gets made whilst your setter is still on the phone to the prospect. So like I was doing the demo before, it'd be like, hey, yada yada name, what's good is Harry from so and so's team. You'll set them, you'll qualify them, you talk over all the questions. At the end, you'll be like, okay, perfect, that call's all booked for 4:45 tomorrow. What I'm going to do now, what the next step would be, is for me to make a group chat with me, you, and the coach, which is the closer. What I'm going to do as well is I'm going to show you a free resource in there as well. Obviously, that free resource is only for people who are coming into the program. I'll do that for you now, right? So then you start making the group chat with him on the phone. Don't go off the phone with him. Once you make the group chat, so it's going to be you plus the prospect plus the closer. So you add just you 3 to it. And then whilst you're on the phone with him, just say, right, I'm going to drop a quick message in there now. Just confirm that you've can see it, and just drop like a yo in the chat, right? Obviously you'll be like, yeah, I can see it. You'll see the 2 blue check marks, and that's great. Do not post this message in there, right? And the reason for that is because this is where you've got that free resource, right? You're dropping that free resource in here, and also it's a decently long message. Obviously you're going to be copy and pasting it, but if you do it on the phone, it's super obvious that you've copy and pasted it, and it takes away the illusion that this free resource is strictly just for the people who've made it this far. Even though it is, but just because you've copy and pasted it, it just makes it seem invaluable. So that's why I always say drop just a yo or a hey, or even just random letters, right? Then once you're off the phone with him, give it like a minute, 2 minutes, whatever, and drop this. So your closer, meet prospect, he's booked on your calendar for time he's booked on for, to learn how we can help him out with his trading journey or e-com business or fucking SMMA agency, right? And then you would tag the prospect and put at prospect, here's that resource for you, brother. And then this resource is designed to nurture them. And what this is it will be like maybe an unreleased YouTube video or an unreleased podcast, something that only people who make it this far see. It needs to be packed with value, and it also needs to explain and go over your offer as well, right? So they get that. Sweet. So that brings us back to, remember when I was talking about the triage call that you would do if you've set them, or even if you've already had the triage call, the one that goes here. And I said, oh, hey man, just checking in. Did you get a chance to see that video? This is the video I was talking about, right? The one right here. Okay, then the next is the manual reminder that you're going to do in the group chat, right? So how this works is, let's say, so this is the 2 hour before reminder. So this is what you send 2 hours before. So 2 hours before the call. So his call's at 4:45. So at 2:45, I'm going to drop this. Reply confirm. So it's simple. To lock in your spot after you watch this mandatory pre-call video to help prepare for your call. Otherwise, it will have to be rescheduled, right? So this right here builds some authority up before the call, and it makes sure that they're ready. So obviously, reply confirm, they reply confirm, the call's good to go ahead. If they do not reply confirm, 1 hour before, they'll get a call, right? Call, right? If they don't answer that call gets cancelled, right? And then rescheduled. So what this does is, one, it makes sure that they're serious and they're actually going to join the call, and it saves the setter from having to ring them again. And it's written right there that they're going to join, right? This pre-call video is super important that they watch it. What this has in it is it goes over the offer for one last time so they can kind of see what they're going to get. So it's fresh in their mind 2 hours before the call. It also explains what the next steps are. So what's going to happen next, the fact that they're going to obviously speak with the coach, well, closer, but you call them coach, customer success manager, whatever the fuck, right? And then it also will have so that'll be in one main video at the top. Then after that, it'll say next steps, and it'll have obviously some FAQs. So like, what do I get in the offer? Things like that. Like, are you like proof that you're not a scammer? Things like that. To help with like objection handling, pretty much. After the FAQs, you're gonna then just have, just like you do on like landing pages, it'll just be like YouTube testimonial videos and things like that from the call. Then obviously they have the call, right? So this, in fairness, the triage call and the WhatsApp group specifically, is one of the things, in my opinion, as to why we had such a high percentage of show. The email sequence is obviously very needed, but it should be just fucking getting used. You know what I mean? I shouldn't really have even had to say, make an email sequence. You should just already be using one. But that is everything that we did to get to 100% show up rate. I know the video probably seems kind of simple, but it is really simple. And that's all we did. Like, genuinely, everything that I've just went through, that is it. That is all we did. And you can implement all of that to your offer. So all you would have to do is literally, you can take these messages, just go back into the video where I was reading them out, pause them, write them down, right? I mean, even go back to the demo like calls where I was talking about, that's all you have to do. That's literally as simple as it is, right? So the key takeaways are, get your setters to make WhatsApp chats with them where you can be answering questions, because they ask questions in these chats as well, and also making sure they watch the pre-call videos. Send heavy email sequences that pre-sell them, and make sure your setters actually fucking call on the prospects. That is literally it. But yeah, that's the entire flow.